Hello everyone. So I wrote a program for my phone that automatically checks my grades and texts me when teachers have updated them. I don't have to spend time reloading the page, waiting for my grades to come out right after I take a test. I basically just get a text every time my grade changes. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this project and how you can make something similar. Here's the idea. A ton of people spend way too much time checking their grades. And especially in my school system, I know kids check over and over and over again right after they take tests, waiting for grades to come out. And this obsessive behavior isn't good for the student, it's not productive, and it puts way too much emphasis on the grades. So I felt like I could come up with a solution to this. So basically, full disclosure here, I did not come up with the idea for this project. My friend Simon Sandrew came to me with the idea for the project, and as soon as I heard about it, hopped right on board because I thought it was a great idea. Here's how the code works. Basically, we get users' info and send it to PowerSchool. We receive the grades by web scraping, hash them, check them against the old ones, and if we need to text new grades, we'll update them. The first thing we do is basically send out information from the user to PowerSchool. We log them in. Simon's function returns the grades. We then hash this function and compare it to the saved hash. If there's a difference, which in this case there is with the last class, we send the user a text to notify them that their grades changed. We then get rid of the old grade, update the new one. So this project required a few parts. Firstly, we needed a name. We went with Power Update. This is mostly because PowerSchool is the service that our district uses to display and release students' grades, and our program updates the user when they have grades changed, so we decided to call the program Power Update. Next, we needed to figure out a way to get the grades. This is where Simon came in. We decided on using web scraping. Basically, web scraping works by taking the HTML code behind a website and crawling through to look for specific information in the HTML. This is the PowerSchool website. It's the service our district uses to get grade information updates. What our web scraping function does is it replicates a person coming to this web address, clicking student sign in, and entering their username and password into this field. After we've done this, we can look for this chart information and look through the HTML to find the information we're looking for specifically. If we inspect element and look at the source code behind the web page, we can look for a specific piece of information through these specific tags. For example, if we want to look for my grade in English, for example, we can hit this pointer, click on this element, and see what goes around it, what information goes around it. We can see that there's all this information about my classes and other information here. I can use this to easily come back and find a grade when I want to check to see whether it's been updated. So this is what Simon's function does. We knew that every time that we saw this tag, we saw this piece of information, right after it was going to be the grade and the name of the class for that specific student. Simon's program goes through the HTML looking for all the different classes and all the different grade information of those classes. It packages it up, it kind of does some string manipulation to make it nice and pretty. It returns a 2D array of all the classes and all the grades for those classes. Simon's function he made that gets the web scraped information from the PowerSchool website looks something like this. We can see we get the PowerSchool information like this, and we act like a user to log in and get the information. The browser does not know it isn't a human logging in. This is part of the first step in web scraping. Once we get this information, we go through and look for these specific tags, like I talked about before. One of the tags is this, and another tag is this. So we can see that every time we see this, we know that whatever precedes this, whatever's following this, is the class and grade information that we want to get. We can perform some string operations and manipulate the information so that way we can get just the information we're looking for and nothing else. And that's where my function takes over. So this is the second part of the project. Simon's part of the program, which returns a nice 2D array, or an array of arrays, full of the information of the grades and all the classes for each of the students' schedule. Take this nice array and we can save the data without storing the actual value. So how do we do this? We use hashing. So there's a special function that takes several different pieces of information. It might take the grade, it might take the class name, takes other pieces of information, combines them together, and then runs it through a function that is really easy to do in one direction. In other words, you can plug it in and get an output really quickly. But with that output, you then can't reverse engineer it to get to the input again, which means that if I save this string, it's not readable to a human, nor is it really reversible by a computer, and it really can't be reversed. So it's a way to store the user's grades in a sense without actually storing what information they got. Every time I check to see if their grade's been updated, I can get Simon's function to give me an array of all the current grades, and then I perform the same mathematical equations to them. I hash those as well, and then I check to see if they're the same as the ones I still have hashed. If they're the same, then I know that the information hasn't changed. But if they're different, because even a single character or space difference or any difference will change it, if they're different, then I know that a grade's changed. So I don't even need to know what grade changed or by how much. I can just tell them that, hey, this is your new grade, because your grade is different than the one that was currently in there. So this is what the CSV file looks like. You can see it stores the first name, the last name, the phone number, the ID, the password, and then the classes of the user. The array we see here under classes is a list of hashed grades and class names. So we can see, like I was talking with the hash function, we've hashed the name and the grade of the class into a string like this for each of the classes. So you can see that currently I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes. When I check to see if I have new grades, I basically produce the same array as this, check to see if it's the same as this array. If it is, then I know I don't have any new grades, but if it isn't, then I know that one of these grades is updated. And I take and text the user what that grade is. So this check each grade function is in charge of going through and updating grades and texting users when grades have changed. I use a pandas data frame to read in the information from the current CSV file that I showed before. I iterate through each of the users and get the key information. I get their new grades to check to see what their current grades are. I iterate through and check to see if any grades have changed between the classes. If they have, I create a message here that is custom with the name of the class and the new grade in the class. Once I form the message, I then create a message with the Twilio API that I send text through. I have an account SID, an account token, and a specific number that I send the text from. This is specific to each user, so if you want to sign up with Twilio, you're going to get your own unique one. I'm not showing them here. Then I'm able to pass in a body message here, which is the message I formed up above right up here. And then I'm able to use the user's current phone number in order to text it to them. So if their grades changed, it texts them here with the update. Then I update the CSV file to show the latest information. That way, when I run the program again, or when I iterate through and get to the same user, the information is most updated. So it doesn't send two texts for a class that's already been updated. As I can't change the grades in the PowerSchool website, for this example, I'm going to just change one of the hashes in this function. For example, I'm going to edit this 4 and delete it. This is going to create the same effect that a change in a grade would, because this hash for this particular class right here is no longer the same as the one that's going to be online. So when it cross-references, when it pulls new grades from the website and checks to see if they're equal, it's going to find that this one is different than the other one. It doesn't know which part's different or how much the grade changed by, it just knows it's different. And therefore it says that this class, whatever this name is, and it says what the grade is. It texts it to me. So when I run this program, you're going to be able to see that I receive a text message saying whatever the name of this class is, and that my grade needs to be updated. Since we just made the change to the CSV file, there should be, in theory, one grade to update. So when I run this code one time, we should notice that I get a text message updating me that my class has changed grades. You can see that I successfully received the grade update when I changed one of the grades in my CSV file. This replicates an actual grade being changed by PowerSchool. And while I can't actually control the grades on PowerSchool, I can, for our testing purposes, control the grades in the CSV file. Here was one critical part of the project. Simon and I knew that we wanted to have the program being run continuously. Not 24 hours a day, but probably between the hours of around 8 to 12, because that's the range of hours that a teacher would be likely to put their grades in. Because of this, Simon and I knew we didn't want to waste resources on a computer to have it constantly be running it over and over again. And also, we didn't want to run this as an in-browser project because it would only work when your browser was open. We didn't want this to be an app because apps take a long time to make. They would have been much more of a process, and we wanted this to be a simple prototype. So we landed on a separate idea. The idea we decided is to use a Raspberry Pi. So a Raspberry Pi is a small mini computer that has the same functionality as a big computer, maybe a little bit less, but it's in a small little package like this. It doesn't have a screen unless you connect it to one. So we use this small computer to basically be constantly running this program over and over again. We have it plugged in using a Cat5 cable, so it has internet connection, and we also have it plugged into a monitor to set it up. So it's running Raspbian. We basically run this Python code, and it sits there, and its only job is to be plugged into the router, plugged into power, and to run this code over and over again, checking our grades. So this is acting as our mini server in a sense. It's running the code for us in the background, and that's how I receive text updates. I'm really proud of me and Simon's project. I'm really proud of me and Simon's project. We put a lot of effort into it in the last few weeks, and honestly, being able to use it has made a massive difference. I now don't have to worry about checking my grades. I used to check my grades a ton. Now they just get texted me when they're updated, so I don't even need to worry about it. I hope you guys found this video entertaining and interesting. Starting with this video, I'm trying to increase the quality of the videos I'm making just to kind of document some of my projects, since it's tough to document programming projects, and I don't know how in-depth I should be going on code and other stuff. But I put some more time into this video. So if you like this video, be sure to check out some of the other videos I've worked on and document some of my projects for, like a driverless RC car that I made. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.